Good morning, Glennis Mahar.
Good morning, Brian Derrick.
From the sieged city of New York.
Yes, we had a big night in New York yesterday because ICE has visibly landed.
Oof. I went and did my yoga this morning to stay centered.
We haven't talked about this. You're a yoga head now?
I am not a yoga head, but it's the only way that I can force myself to stretch. And I'm getting to the point where that's needed just in my bones.
Yeah,
so,
with age, as I say.
Exactly. I am now doing a 7 a.m. yoga to start my day.
Okay, great. Well, I'm glad that you are zenned out. I'm not. I was in New York City traffic behind a school bus, behind an ambulance, and I missed the bus this morning. So that's my morning.
Well, I'm glad that you're here.
Me too. And in person, we're back together after both of us
Finally,
were traveling.
Missed you.
Missed you.
And we can get back to our ASMR coffee. Clink, clink. I made Glennis some Trader Joe's cold brew.
Yeah, it's actually really good. And I feel like a TikTok girly with the straw.
SpawnCon. All right, should we get into the news of the week?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. It's actually a tough choice this week because there's so much crazy stuff happening.
Yeah.
I mean, just to go off the top, ICE is now invading New York City. The face is getting ripped off of the White House. Trump is trying to pay himself $230 million. And we continue to move in a horrible direction as far as the government shutdown goes.
Right.
Where do you want to start?
I want to start with New York City ICE. Yeah. Just because it's so relevant and top of mind. They were down on Canal Street. For those who don't know, Canal Street is known for having a lot of dupe vendors. There's a really famous Broad City episode on this where
bags.
Yeah. And it's honestly harmless. No one cares, but that's where ICE decided to descend last night. And I don't know if you've seen the footage. New Yorkers showed up.
Yeah, they were not having it.
And there are some clips that are viral where they, arrest this man or they cuff this man and he has the thickest Brooklyn accent. And it's like, I'm from Brooklyn, born in Kings County. What are you doing? And it's just hyperbolically. They look like clowns.
Yeah.
ICE looks like clowns.
I don't think that we're talking enough about the larger picture that Trump has advanced both in policy through the executive and through legislation and budgeting, his vision for a police state. We definitely are talking about on the ground what's happening in Chicago, in DC, in LA, as we're watching these raids and families get torn apart and neighbors be dragged out of their houses and cars, and it's horrific. But we also need to be talking about the grander vision that they are working towards.
Yeah, and to the optics of what happened last night, what I saw is, these armored vehicles rolled onto Canal Street. And what was really inspiring was that New York City citizens, one woman, I think, ran out of her office, has her handbag, her dress, her heels, and she stands in front of this armored vehicle being like, fuck you, no.
Yeah.
And that optically to your police state observation, it is true. It's that is really shocking to see in the city of New York, these armored vehicles on Canal Street. And I'm grateful that New Yorkers showed up last night to literally get in their faces.
Yeah. I anticipate you and I are going to be spending more time out on the street.
Yeah.
And protesting, trying to disrupt these sorts of operations. I think that we need to talk about what's coming because there was news that kind of got buried in the many, many headlines this week that ICE has spent an insane amount of money on new surveillance equipment. And that includes a contract with Clearview AI, which provides facial recognition software, a multi-billion-dollar contract with BI2 for its biometric data system, which essentially promises real-time identification of a person after taking a photo of their eye. And then it restarted a contract with Paragon, which provides software that can remotely access smartphone data. The Biden administration had banned Paragon as unethical spyware, and they just restarted the contract. And so all of this is a massive expansion of power within ICE, where there is literally no transparency or accountability. We have people running around in literal masks.
Yeah. Well, now we know why they're wearing masks. They don't want the facial recognition to get them.
100%.
I think there is a need for bystander training, right? It's like the Paul Revere in us is going to come out of like, ICE is coming, I'm going to go defend my neighbors. Like, what do we need to do to protect ourselves and to keep ourselves safe from this insane police state that you're talking about?
Yeah. And it is going to get worse. I'm sorry to tell everyone, but the ICE budget under Biden and just all previous presidents was around $8 billion for all of ICE. That's a ton of money.
Yeah.
In the most recent legislation that Republicans passed that gave Trump his whole wish list, they allocated $80 billion for ICE.
I just got chills.
That's why we're seeing these recruitment videos and hearing about all of these new hiring sprees that they're going on. They're using that money to get all of this surveillance equipment and expand prisons for immigrants. It is extremely concerning, and I don't think people yet realized the scale at which we're going to see these types of operations continue to expand. And that's why I think it's so important for us to be throwing up as many roadblocks as we can early to make it hard for them to deploy those funds and expand power.
Okay, so what's one thing that Vibes Only listeners could do today?
If you're in a city that is occupied by ICE, I do think it's important to participate in whatever way you feel safe in showing resistance, right? And making it clear that these are not welcome incursions. And wherever you can, sharing the stories of people to actually show the human toll of what's happening, because I think a portion of the country still lives in a bubble where they think that it's MS-13 gang members getting deported and not literal moms and working dads who are just trying to make ends meet and have a good life for their kids who have been here for 25 years.
Right. If you see a video, if you see a human story, share it on your platform. Even if you have 10 followers, that's 10 people who can see that information. So
definitely
more to come there. Stay vigilant.
What next fucked up story of the week do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about the East Wing of the White House. To be clear, Donald Trump, when he first announced this grand ballroom, which, lest we forget, who has ballrooms?
I mean, that's like some monarchy shit.
He's already bulldozed the Kennedy Rose Garden from Jackie O.
Well, paved over it.
Yeah, like literally, like
it looks like a parking lot.
Paved paradise and put up a parking lot. Joni Mitchell.
Right.
The East Wing of the White House, we saw beginning on Monday, began to be bulldozed by the Trump administration. This is being funded by private funds. So
undisclosed.
Well, except for, you know what I learned this morning? Guess who's footing $20 million of that bill? Google.
No.
Yes. I believe the Trump administration, and part of his like series of suing media and tech companies for insert whatever here, there was a $20 million civil suit. And this is part of the settlement, that they are contributing $20 million to this rebuild of destruction of the East Wing and building of this ballroom.
Here's what I'm thinking on the White House right now. At the end of the day is a building. And while I wish that he had not done it, I think there are more important things happening as we're talking about the invasion and literal war on American cities that he's conducting and whatnot. But it is a useful symbol in that Trump is spending $200 million on a vanity project at the White House so that he can host big parties in what we know is going to be a gilded room. At the same time, the government is shut down. They are taking away all of the money from WIC and SNAP that is feeding hungry kids. And they're sending 20, now maybe $40 billion to bail out the Argentinian economy on behalf of his hedge fund bros.
It is an allegory for everything that is happening. And to your point, I just think that him bulldozing the East Wing, it's what he's doing to Americans. He's bulldozing Americans' civil liberties, their economic dignity. Well, I want to also add that I looked it up. The USAID annual budget sat, because it no longer exists, at around $35 billion. So just with Argentina alone,
could have funded most of it.
Yep.
And How many people are supposed to die as a result of those cuts? 14 million nationwide from disease.
Many of which. 14 million globally.
Right.
Many of which are children. So
the other cash grab going on, we must talk about. This easily could have led the episode. Trump is right now, maybe already has paid himself $230 million from the Justice Department straight up to his own pocket as a quote unquote settlement or damages for the investigation dating back to 2016 on Russia and whatnot. He had filed these claims against DOJ, and now that he runs DOJ and it's not an independent watchdog, he can just order them to pay him $230 million.
It's so profoundly corrupt. And something that I've been thinking about lately is when I listen to a lot of these news stories on mainstream media, et cetera, it's like, can Trump do this? Well, he is doing it.
Right.
So what are Democrats doing to fight back?
Oh, we got to get into that.
I'm really disheartened.
I think we have important updates to go through in Maine and in New York.
Okay, where do you want to start?
Let's start in Maine.
Okay.
We've already established we have Graham Platner, young, progressive populist, running against Janet Mills, current moderate governor in Maine for U.S. Senate. After Mills got in the race, we saw a huge Oppo book, which is opposition research, dropped, aka all of the attacks that people are digging up on Platner.
Yeah.
And it's created a shitstorm online.
Yeah, I just want to zoom out even more. Graham Platner got a lot of digital online energy with his announcement. I think he spoke in a way that really resonated with a lot of people, and he was gaining a lot of traction. And then the Dem establishment said, you know what, I think we want Mills. And that's when, boom, this Oppo book. And just to even like clarify that further, an Oppo book is if you want to run for office, a research team is finding every single skeleton in your closet and they are putting it in a binder. Remember Mitt Romney binders full of women? These are binders of your deepest, darkest secrets and fuck ups.
I mean, you've gone through Oppo books before.
For sure.
It's a wild experience. I think it would shock most people. The level of detail that's included and the stuff that they're able to find is wild.
Yeah.
They cost tens of thousands of dollars
Hundreds
to
sometimes.
produce. Right, exactly. And so what have we seen come out from Platner's Oppo book? Well,
first, the Reddits.
First was a wave of old posts that he had made on Reddit that included things like calling himself a communist, referring to all police as bastards, and calling himself an, quote, Antifa super soldier. Basically, he had said a lot of stuff that was even further to the left than I think he's trying to be or the lane he's trying to run in now. He put out essentially an apology video. It did cause internal conflict. His political director stepped down publicly and said she didn't want to be part of it anymore. And he apologized and said, I was fucked up and I was young and I don't feel that same way about lots of those things anymore. Yeah. And that seemed to totally go over pretty well. And I think it rocked the boat, but it didn't capsize the boat.
You also read the Reddits and it's like to say you're a communist and an Antifa super soldier is an oxymoron because like any World War II fighter or soldier from the United States would be an Antifa super soldier.
Totally.
Like, and then, you know, we fought the commies. So it's like
he specifically said he was trying to troll people. Right. And I think people have more grace and leniency for that now than we have in the past. I want to make the point here and say we should have more candidates that violate those kinds of norms that are in a different place politically than they were 5 or 10 years ago. It makes people feel real in a way that Democrats keep putting forward these like super cookie cutter polished lawyers that ultimately don't resonate with people because that's not how most of America thinks, talks, acts, whatever, and it feels put on.
Yeah,
It's what makes people trust Donald Trump.
Yeah. It's a new type of media training that has to happen, which is like stripping away some of that media training that is traditional.
My hot take is a lot of people cannot be taught. For a lot of people, you're just not it anymore. And the moment has moved, has moved past you, and you might be a great elected, but if you can't win, then you can't be a great elected. So you also have to be a great candidate. And a lot of Dems are not up to it. And so kindly exit stage left.
Yeah.
That's still the lane that I felt I was in with Platner. And then yesterday, news comes out where they take old videos of him at a wedding, like shirtless or something that his own campaign had put out. And he has a tattoo that is associated with Nazi history.
It's a piece of Nazi iconography that he has tattooed on his body.
It's a skull and crossbones, but very specific
to the Nazi movement.
Skull and crossbones.
Yeah. You can't do these things anymore.
Right. So that caused another level of shit show for Platner, where the question I think became, when did he know that this was a tattoo associated with Nazi symbolism?
Yeah.
At least for me, that's an important question, because he very clearly said, I did not know when I got it. I was 19 years old. I was drunk. He was active duty and with friends,
somewhere.
And he picked a skull and crossbones out of a book, which is potentially innocent, like dumb and young and
sure,
whatever. There are conflicting accounts of, has he known for many years that it was associated with Nazism, or is it a recent discovery and he was unaware? Because he says it was pretty recent that he found this out.
Well, you know what? Tattoo removal technology has come a long way.
Well, right. I think a more important question is, do we think that Graham Platner identifies with the ideology in any way of the Nazi party regime? And I don't know the guy that well yet, but my instinct is to say no. I think it would have been a cool play to know that this was coming, because the campaign should have known at some point that this was coming. And had he not done it pre-campaign and felt like he was trying to hide it, plan a public re-tattooing / tattoo removal and do an Instagram live and talk with somebody about the story and whatever, and make it a media moment and just get it off your body, right? And eliminate the question in people's mind as to why you kept it.
And I've been noodling on this a lot in the last 2-3 days, or when this news broke, because you have to think, like, part of the excitement around his candidacy was that he did speak, I think, to a type of voter that Democrats have not been able to reach for a long time, whether that be young men or men in general who feel a certain way about how the system has treated them, et cetera. And I did see a lot of opportunity there with Platner as a candidate to be able to reach those people. And I think if he had done what you just suggested, that would have been even more helpful. I'm sure there's a pretty large subset of people who maybe have done things in their past that are questionable, or they were drunk and young and feel ostracized by Dems because of it. But do you think his candidacy ending?
No. The big picture, to your point, is the Democratic Party right now has a big contingent, arguably center of the base, that loves a polished, extremely eloquent, Obama-esque good boy energy that I would sort of pick Pete Buttigieg as the perfect example of. That's just so smart and really knows policy and can cite the facts and has stuff memorized. And that is not a big enough contingent of voters to win elections. You also have to be able to win the people that resonate with a messier, angrier, and less Ivy League vision of who should be in office.
Yeah.
And that is who Platner is resonating with. We do have to come to grips with the fact that going outside of this cookie cutter type of candidate means that you get the shit with the other stuff, right? There will always be baggage when you run real people who haven't planned for their entire life to run for office.
Right. Yeah.
And we're going to see that more and more in this digital age. Our entire lives have been documented online. I just want to cap this off by saying we're not done. There's more oppo coming on Platner. Sources are saying there's more local stuff where he went after the Hancock County Sheriff's Office, calling them, quote, overweight pansies, and said cops are opportunistic cowards. And there's a bunch more local Maine specific stuff that could actually prove more damaging than the nationalization of the race.
So we have an election in 2 weeks here in
2 weeks.
New York.
Early voting starting soon.
Yeah. Do you have a voting plan?
Yeah, because I moved. So I had to re-register to vote. Still same congressional district, thank God. But I have to find my new polling place still.
Do you feel like these elections in November, it's not just our mayoral, but the other ones across the country, will they be a referendum on Trump at all?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's also a referendum on Democrats in certain places as well, particularly in New York City. That's the dynamic at play. It's less about Trump and it's more about the populist wave versus an establishment sort of centrist wave, or not even wave, faction. And in other places, it's going to be more about Trump and people having the opportunity to voice their displeasure at the ballot box. The expectations are high because Dems have been overperforming all year in special elections by 10 to 18 points. And we need to see similar performance in Pennsylvania and in Georgia and in the California redistricting ballot measure and in New Jersey and all of these places in order to set up 2026 for what we need it to be. If you don't know whether or not you have an election, go sign up on oath.vote for an email, and we will email you this coming week about the elections that are on your ballot.
Great. How do you feel about Mamdani?
We have one more mayoral debate. I don't expect any surprises there. Similar to the last one, Mamdani is a pro at a debate. Really he's really good. And Cuomo would need a miracle, I think, at this point, which he's aiming for by trying to push Curtis Sliwa out.
Good luck.
The Republican who's already been offered $10 million to drop out. Insane.
No, Curtis is going to go back to his cats and the guardian angels and call it a day.
Yeah. I feel like Mamdani is a walk-on unless something crazy happens.
How are you feeling about him as mayor?
New York needs a lot of public policy changes, and we need to change the approach that we're currently taking to a bunch of things. New York is not a hellscape that Fox News would have you believe. I don't feel unsafe walking around. And we have serious problems that we need to address. And on some things, I'm excited for Mamdani to shake up the status quo that feels like things have been stuck for the last 12 plus years. And on other things, same as in the primary, I have real concerns with his specific policy proposals, which were always my sticking point with him, that I just don't think are going to be as effective as they're made out to be.
Example?
His housing policy, I think, is generally divorced from what I see as the real roadblocks to reducing the cost of housing in New York City. I think his intentions are in the right place. I think that the stakeholders that he's prioritizing are probably correct, but the actual approach to the policy shifts around how city council is involved in this, it's called ULURP, which is like a really wonky thing, but is how we do like land review stuff in New York City. That I don't currently feel super confident is going to have the outcome that he wants it to have. Yeah. And that concerns me as someone who pays rent in New York.
Right. Yeah, same. I am such a pragmatist. So when I see the policy, goals, I understand for the most part how the city is actually run, and it's deeply, deeply bureaucratic. There are people who have been in their positions for many, many years. I want things to happen, and I know that there's going to be a lot of roadblocks. However, I am also excited by someone who has so much conviction and is so future forward thinking and is talking about what he wants to see in the city and what he wants to build and do. I feel like as Dems, we are so reactionary. And to have a candidate who's kind of like, all of these horrible things are happening, but this is what I want to do in my city for my people. That is very inspiring to me. So I am hopeful that, you know, when you elect anyone, you're electing the administration, that he is staffed with the right people to help execute on just like basic city governing, and then also to be able to build out some of the things he envisions for the city.
You're spot on. And I'm probably coming across as a little bit too hair splitty than more so than I want to be. It's exciting to have an incoming mayor, likely, that makes the city excited. And that's a powerful thing, as we saw in the first couple months of the Trump administration. There's real power in having what is interpreted as a mandate when you're elected.
Yeah.
And if the primary is any indication, we could definitely see that from the general as well. And having a mandate for change is something that can be leveraged to do a ton of good. And I don't want to put the expectation on Mamdani that he's going to solve every intractable problem, like the MTA and all housing costs and all of these things, right, that have plagued the city for decades.
Yeah.
But there's tons of quality of life issues that he can address very quickly with the momentum and community buy-in that he seems to be harnessing, unlike any other candidate we've seen in modern era in New York.
And the actual power of the seat. You know, obviously the mayor can only do so much. They can do a lot of things, and there's a lot of things they can't do, and they need the state to govern. So to be seen. But I will say, given you've made this comment before on the pod, and even what you were talking about earlier, that like things will get worse with ICE and with Trump sending in with Trump sending in, you know, ICE for occupations of our cities. Having people who are excited by our government will be extremely valuable to resist that.
Yeah.
If we feel like we have a leader in our city who is inspiring, motivating, and fighting back against Trump, which I have no doubt Mamdani will be able to do, that gives me hope that the city of New York will step up and fight back.
Agreed. Can't wait to see it. It's giving clickbait or double click. There was so much news this week to choose from.
I'm in the hot seat.
Have a lot of headlines to go through, and Glennis is going to tell us whether it's clickbait and we should ignore it, or double click and pay more attention.
Okay.
New poll from Axios shows 2/3 of Americans say the country is headed in the wrong direction.
It's like both, but if that's the vibe, we gotta pick up what people are putting down.
Absolutely. I think I would double click on that.
Yeah.
30% of Republicans gave Trump like terrible marks on the economy and cost of living.
Trump ran on an economic platform saying he was going to make people's lives financially more stable and give people more economic dignity. He has done the absolute opposite of that.
This coffee was $45. Dominion voting systems used by 27 states were sold to Republican operative Scott Leindecker.
That's a double click. It is insane to me that this is not some like neutral, like UN peacekeeping mission to count United States ballots fairly. I have no trust in a Republican operative running the technology behind a voting machine.
Next headline. OpenAI is launching a new web browser and line of hardware products, including wearables.
Clickbait. We knew this was coming.
True, but I have to say, I'm starting to get a little spooked that OpenAI is basically replacing Meta, Google, Amazon, all at the same time.
Wait, how are they replacing Amazon?
Because you can now order stuff straight out of ChatGPT. If you're like, hey, give me some recommendations on things I should buy for my new apartment, and it gives you a list, you can literally say, okay, buy those 3 things, and it will order it for you.
You know how everyone thought like the advent of AI, like the machines were going to take over? No one has anticipated that the machines would take over because everyone would be in AI psychosis. Like people are getting dumber by the day.
Trump tears the face off of the White House.
Well, I think we decided that's a clickbait.
Yeah. George Santos released from prison after Trump commutes his sentence.
It is clickbait, but I do want to just say everyone should be disgusted. George Santos stole money from people. He created fake nonprofits and used that money to buy ugly Gucci sunglasses. It should disgust people that ICE is pulling people from cars, from their family homes, from their workplaces, and someone like George Santos gets out of jail free, literally, because when you commute a sentence, your debts are gone.
Right. I think I agree that it's clickbait, and it still makes me so mad. I do want the next Democratic president rounding up all of the criminals that Trump has unleashed on the country, including the January 6ers and George Santos. Every January 6er, I want you to know that when I'm in the next administration, we will have a full-time team breathing down your neck. Anything you do. If you leave a shopping cart in a parking lot, not where it's supposed to be, you're getting snapped up by ICE.
Yeah.
And you're going to be in a prison.
And it's not my first rodeo. First J6, you know what I did? If anyone said they went, I turned them in. I filled out that form from the FBI.
I love that.
I was like, beep, beep, beep. My friend's like, oh, my friend's dad went. And I was like, what's his name? I'm not even kidding. So we're going to do an It's Giving today. For those who don't remember, It's Giving is when Brian and I watch a clip and we use the term It's Giving to tell you what we feel like it's giving. There's so many options. When I scroll on Twitter, I'm just like, this is all so crazy. This one kind of struck me because it's JD Vance at the Marine Corps something. And he's talking about his job and the job of the Army. So I think it's relevant given today's topics. It's giving, dear leader, I love you.
It's giving suck up. It's giving gay for Trump.
Oh my God.
Sorry, Vance. I mean, the radical 180 that he's done is irreconcilable to me. And I'll never believe a word that he says
ever.
After.
Spineless. But you know what he wants? He wants dear leader's seat. He wants to be president. It's giving he serves Donald Trump, not the American people.
Yeah. Oh, that is very clear.
I mean, he says it.
There are so many examples of him very clearly just getting on the floor and licking Trump's boots. Remember sitting in the White House with Zelensky?
You didn't say thank you. You didn't even say thank you. First of all, Catholics don't ask for thanks. What? They don't. I mean, maybe we do. I don't know. But like,
sorry, gratitude's not in my religion.
No, but like, you don't serve people or do things to help people in need. In this case, Ukraine, which was invaded by technically our enemy, Russia.
Not even technically. Our number one enemy in the world, possibly aside from China.
It's depressing. He's a huge loser, and I really want my hands on his Oppo book.
Should we leave him with a good vibe this week? What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. We at Vibes Only think it's very important for you to know that this past weekend, the No Kings rally was possibly the largest single-day demonstration in U.S. history. 7 million people across more than 2,000 cities and localities coming out to demonstrate their opposition to Donald Trump. It was such incredible energy, peaceful protests, no looting, no rioting, none of the things that Republicans tried to make it out to be to delegitimize the opposition.
Yeah.
It was a remarkable feat of coordinated protest against the authoritarian slide of the Trump regime.
Period. it was really encouraging to see, exciting to see. And I run the 3.5% program, which is it only takes 3.5% of a population to be involved in sustained nonviolent resistance to actually influence change, and that number is about like 9 million, 10 million, depending on if you're counting.
We're almost there.
We're almost there. I mean, sustained is the key thing there, but I would argue that we're coming up on 26. There's going to be a lot more elections, and one of the best ways by which to resist is to vote.
Period. Thanks for listening. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Vibes Only is a production of Vibes Only the Podcast, LLC, produced by us, Glennis Mahar and
Brian Derrick,
with audio producer Baze Hohen and digital producer Maddie Hart. We want to hear from you. Send us voice notes, drop a comment, and if you're vibing with the pod, share it with your friends. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. We'll see you next week.
See ya.